Thank you very much.
Alright, cheers.
Thanks a lot.
Cheers.
Cheerio. I've just had a delivery from Gear for Music. It says it's a bass drum. Shall we open up and find out all about it? Well, I've opened the box and guess what's in it? A small bass drum. Yes, it's really small. It's 18 by 14, so it's quite small. It's a Natal Acadia and it's lovely piano white. And I bought it to match the rest of my kit. And I'll show you what I'm going to do with it in the rest of this video. I got this lovely Natal Acadia piano white drum kit back in May 2017. I think it's a really good kit, very good value for money. You get lots of drums for your money here. And I'm also on Facebook. When I'm on Facebook, I go to some of the drummers forums and there's one of them where people post photographs of all their drums. It's very American, so there's some guys with loads of different kits and they post all these different kits. Somebody said, oh, I need this, could I do this? I need this, could I do that? And somebody put on there, well, he said, I've heard a lot of pro drummers in America, they go to one manufacturer and they buy every drum in the particular series, all the different sizes. So then whatever they call on to do, whether it's an open mic session or whether it's a studio session or a big gig, they could just pick and choose what drums to do and they always match. And I thought, bloody hell, that's a good idea. I've got several drum kits. I've got small drum kits, I've got this big one, I got some in between. And I thought, hey, this is a good idea. If I'd done something along those lines, particularly as I got all these lovely white drums now, if I had other white drums and everything to match it, I'll be able to get rid of at least one of my other kits. So that's what I decided to do. And the first thing I've done is bought this small bass drum. Yes, here it is. It's a small bass drum. 18 by 14. Doesn't it look great? The trouble is, once you start buying stuff for your drums, it gets a bit addictive. And I bought these bongos as well. Unfortunately, it doesn't stop there. 2, 3, 4. No siree, look what I've got now, another 2 snare drums. Anyway, I think that's the end of me buying addiction for a couple of weeks. So I'm going to show you the rest of the video, what you can do with all this stuff to give yourself several different kits. Well, here's the first configuration I put together. It's like a small jazz kit. So you've got the small bass drum, the 18-inch bass drum. I've got on this on my smaller tom, which is 10 by 6.5. The standard 14 by 5.5 snare drum and 14 by 12 floor tom. So for compact sort of jazzy type gigs, this is a really useful small kit you can get in. Doesn't take as much space up in the car and everything as the big kit. If I wanted to make it even smaller, I bought this other snare drum. It's another Natal. It's a Natal metal snare. It's got this lovely snare mechanism, by the way, on it. I put a coated head on, so I could use this instead. Could use this with brushes. The other thing with this is I've not tuned them or anything. Obviously, with the different configurations, you can do different tunings. But this is another small one. The only disadvantage for this small one in this configuration is quite difficult to do. In fact, you can't do cross stick with a full-size drumstick. So what I've done is I've taken a drumstick and I've chopped the edge off it, and then you can do cross stick with it. So that's really nice little configuration. And how about this, even smaller with a smaller snare drum, look, the 10-inch snare drum. So that's a really compact kit. If I was going to use this configuration, I'd probably change the heads from the Evans I've got on here at the moment, the Evans black chrome, to some other coated heads, possibly the Aquarian that I've got on this. But that's how academic I could do it. I've got the heads, can change it, but the main thing is I've got these lovely drums. This configuration might look the same, but actually I've changed this tom. I've gone with the bigger tom I got was 12 by 7. Now Natal do this configuration, but with a slightly bigger tom. In fact, it's just an inch long. It's 12 by 8. And they call it a TJ, traditional jazz kit. So I've effectively got one of their other own configurations, but just a small, slightly sort of 1 inch smaller thing. So this is like a traditional jazz kit with the 14 snare, 12, 14, 18 inch bass drum. Here's an interesting combination I just put together. Sometimes I do very small gigs and just use the bongos and snare. Well, this configuration with a small bass drum, I can use the bongos, the snare, a little hi-hat and a crash ride, and then you've got a nice little versatile set of all manner of different things on this. Isn't it good? Wow, it's amazing. I never even thought of this morning when I woke up. Shows what having lots of nice drums can do. Well, this next configuration is basically a 1960s configuration. When I started playing the drums, this was the sort of configuration I was using. It's got the 22 inch bass drum. Mind you, this is a bit longer than we used to have in the 60s. It's got 12 inch tom here and a 16 inch tom here with your 14 inch snare. So this is a typical 60s type thing, and if you transported me back 40 odd years when I was first playing, this would look very familiar. It was before the people started putting the second tom there, very much like the sort of kit the Ringo would have used. Or most of the bands, if you see, go back to the 60s, Kinks and everything, this is the sort of configuration. 14 inch snare, 12 inch tom, 16 inch tom. Great. Here's the next configuration. So leaving the 60s, as you go into the 70s, we started to add the second tom. So this configuration is that sort of configuration with the 2 toms, 10, 12, and again the 16 inch floor tom, and the standard 14 inch snare and 22 inch. So again, this is another standard, very good combination. This is the standard sort of kit formation you'd see mostly if you go and buy a drum kit. This is one of the standard sort of kits that you get these days. This configuration is what they call 1 up and 2 down. It's not a sort of configuration I use myself, to be honest with you, but John Bonham used it, and of course Buddy Rich used this sort of setup, so who am I to compare myself to them? So again, this has got the larger tom here, 12, 14, 16, 22 bass drum, and the standard 14 snare. So a 1 up and a 2 down. So this then takes us back with the addition of the 14 inch floor tom to my original Acadia kit, with the 2 rack toms, the 2 floor toms, the 22 bass and the 14 inch snare. So you're back to here. But of course, these days, this is again a very common configuration. If you look at, you go to try buy a drum kit, this is a configuration that a lot of drum manufacturers operate these days. And you can see the flexibility, even without buying that small bass drum, that you can do different configurations with it. The small bass drum does make a big difference. The other thing that happens these days is people tend to have 2 snare drums, and that's one of the reasons that I bought these additional snares. And if I felt I needed the extra snare drum, I've got 2 other ones on hand. So I've had a bit of a change. I've put the deeper snare drum here. It's lovely sort of hammered bronze finish. This is over a metal shell. It's 14 by 8.5 by 8, so it's a really heavy rock snare drum, and I've got this little one I put there for doing some accents on. So I swapped those snare drums over, and I've got the white one tucked in my bag for emergencies. So these, again, you don't need to do it, but this gives me additional flexibility, and if I want additional sounds, I've got this opportunity to do that big stuff. The other drums I showed you at the beginning was my pair of Natal bongos. If you go back to the 60s, sort of winding back a bit, and you look at some old catalogues, particularly Olympic and Premier ones, they incorporated a pair of bongos. Actually, as part of the set, it used to be quite standard in the 50s. Lots of calypsos and stuff like that were in the charts, and they used to use that. But I decided to buy some of these. I do some open mics, and these are really good and makes a difference. Not many people, you go around seeing bands, unless they're specialists in a band, use the bongos these days, but these are a lovely tone, and everybody that hears them think, wow, that's fantastic, you know, really gets them, gives them the old Santana feel. Anyway, that's the addition of the bongos to this particular set. Again, of course, you can use the bongos on any of the sets. Alright, here's the finished one then. I've added my cymbals back in, got my bongos, got my secondary snare drum, and the heart of the set is the Natal Acadia kit in piano white. So this is my setup. Bloody good, isn't it?